Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. I do hope you're having a good day. This is episode 28 of the Day in, Day Out podcast. Today's episode has a great fella on today. I'm named Mr. David Steele. He is the founder of the Steele Empire.com network. He started this where he started a podcast called Magic and Steele with him and his kids. Basically, Magic and Steele is a D&D podcast, basically where they are playing the game and basically helping educate people more about D&D and having a good time while they were doing it. Also, we talked about his time as a martial artist, DJ, and basically he did give us a lot of insight on for people who are looking to start their very own podcast. So I would simply say it was a very educational time for myself. I feel you will find this quite educational for you as well. So I say sit back, enjoy the podcast, let me know what you think. Please show the podcast some love by taking out a subscription. It is free after all. And enjoy the show. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. Have a great day. And be awesome. Peace. So 1, 2, 3, and we are recording. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. This is episode 28 of the Day in, Day Out podcast. I have today, I'm quite fortunate to have Mr. David Steele with us today. He's been a martial artist over the last 30 years. He has been a voiceover actor as well. And he is also a podcast host himself for Magic and Steele podcast. By all means, let me hand it over to him so he can introduce you more, how can I say, better, more intimately. Who knows? Hello, sir. How are you?
Yes. No one can speak better about themselves than themselves, right? So, very well. Yes, I really appreciate you asking me to come on. I love to get a chance to chat with fellow creatives as yourself. I'm excited to talk about podcasting and martial arts as well. But family man. I was lucky enough. I started martial arts when I was 14. I was lucky enough, just to fast forward, and I don't know specific questions if you want me to talk about, but fast forward, as a family man, I had 5 children, and I was lucky enough to own a martial arts studio for about 5 years. And my kids were young and they were all involved in it. So it was really a good experience. You know, they'd go to school, a couple of the older ones, and they'd come, I'd pick them up and they'd come and they'd take classes and they'd be there all day and all night with me. It was a wonderful experience. Yeah. And then we started a podcast together as well. I started with voiceovers in 2014 after I got done DJing. I stopped DJing and I needed a creative outlet. So I found a course online to do some voiceover stuff that I've always thought about it. So I figured, let me dip my toes in here and try it out. I built my own little studio because I already knew about audio. So I had some fun doing that, researched it. And then my kids were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I've never played, even though I grew up in the 80s. So I said to my oldest daughter, I said, why don't you start a game for us? I want to play. So we started playing together, and I started listening to podcasts about D&D to learn how to play. As soon as I found that there wasn't many at the time, there's tons of them now, but at the time there was only a couple. And the one was really good. It taught me how to play. But I said to my kids after we played for a couple of months, I said, hey, you guys want to make our own podcast? I've been listening to podcasts. There's this whole world of audio. We could do our thing and we could set up a thing down here at our table. There were 6 of us playing. So my daughter is the game master. She runs it. And I said, I can mic everybody up. It'll be fun. So it's like a new adventure, something to learn. I love learning. So I started getting books and researching, listening to podcasts about podcasts to learn how to do it. How do I start? And then, so 2016, we started our podcast, A Quest for Magic and Steele. So that's the fast forward version.
Yeah. Like I do hope the power did not go to your daughter's head when you made her dungeon master.
Oh
Yeah.
no, it did. No, no.
Does that go?
That power went to her head because she's the oldest,
Yeah.
and with 5 kids, so she's like I always call her little mommy. So she was like groomed from like 2 years old. She helps out. She's like the boss. So she's like a mini me, but she has hair. Her hair.
Oh, I see. No, no, it's all
I
cool.
see. We go to the same barber though. I
Oh
said
well,
we have the
yeah.
same
What can I say?
hairstyle.
Yes, like nature does the top,
Yes.
and
Yes.
leaves the rest on. Like, and then it leaves the rest. It's a cruel
Nice.
twist of fate, but nevertheless.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah. So, what martial art were you teaching?
Mm. So my combat arts started about 8 years old. My dad was a big into martial arts. He did judo in Korea when he was in the military and boxing. So he taught me American boxing,
Mm,
jab, cross, right,
yeah.
uppercut, that kind of stuff. So I learned that when I was young. Used to be have a heavy bag down the basement. We used to lift the little weights and hit the bag. So that was a cool experience when I tried a bunch of different sports growing up. I tried baseball, I tried soccer, I tried football, basketball. I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't
Mm,
like the group thing. I was kind of a lone wolf type. So I could make friends, but I just didn't like that. And I didn't like that competitive feeling, and people were like tease you if you weren't the best. And I just felt like I didn't belong there. So I got into martial arts because I knew somebody that trained that I went to school with. So I was a freshman. I was 14 years old, and I kept bugging my dad, "Hey, I want to do this karate. It looks pretty cool. It's not that far. We could try it out." So one day he just snapped out of it. He kept telling me, "Shut up, leave me alone." And then one day, I think we saw something on TV. It was a commercial. It was actually their school. I said,
yeah.
"Oh, I know the guy that goes there." And then he says, "Oh, that's the one." Okay, so we went there, checked it out, and we watched it. And what sold my dad, we watched the class. They had a stick. They had the bamboo stick. It was traditional. So, if people didn't have the stance correctly, they smack you in the back of the leg, like make you stand straight. It was really hardcore. And they don't do that anymore. Nobody does. But at the time, so my dad saw that and he's like a nut. So he saw that and was like, "Oh, sign me up." We signed up for a year. He joined as well. He would loved it. He's like, you have to bow and say yes,
Yeah.
sir, and do knuckle push-ups. He was like, "Oh, I'm in." So that was the beginning of my experience at 14 years old. That was Tang Sudo. It's a Korean martial art, very
Okay.
similar to Taekwondo.
Mm,
Taekwondo is the national Korean martial art, sport karate. It's in the Olympics. Tang Sudo is like its sister or its cousin. It's a little more traditional. It's more of
right.
a way of life martial art. It's not just sport.
Ah,
And did that for many years. Gosh, and I still do it. I still teach.
yeah.
But that was my main style. I also did Shotokan, which is very similar to that. It's just the Japanese style, and then Tai Chi Chuan, which I still teach. And I just started doing because of this coronavirus thing, we're all stuck inside. I
Yeah.
started live streaming a Tai Chi class on Facebook and YouTube on Friday mornings,
Mm,
and for free, just for people to have something to do. And I also teach sword. It's a Hedong Gumdo. It's a Korean style. It's kind of like samurai, traditional
okay.
sword.
So, like,
Mhm.
basically, so with regards to the aspects of the martial arts, was it a case
Mhm.
of, was there a particular thing, or was it like the whole thing in general? What was the sort of main focus for yourself?
You mean like what I enjoyed about it or what I
Um,
took out of it?
yeah, basically what you enjoyed about it and what you took out of it, because yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so at 14, and you're a teenager, and
Mm,
going through puberty and changing over, and like I said, I couldn't find my footing in the other sports.
yeah.
I wasn't good at that group sport thing,
Mm,
which some people are. I just didn't like it. I guess I was kind of a nerd in my heart, so I was kind of just more introverted. I could be very much an extrovert, but I was kind of like it matters what kind of mood I'm in, so I'd go both ways. I can be extroverted, but then I need to be by myself and
yeah.
leave me alone. But so the martial arts, the karate, the cool thing about that. It was the traditional martial arts, so it wasn't focused on the sport end of it.
Mm,
I didn't have to fight people in competitions if I didn't want to. I could choose to do that. But it was very disciplined. So again, I told you they had the stick. So there was discipline, respect, honor.
yeah.
That were the main things. So we'd come to class and you'd have to bow to the seniors, the
Mm,
teachers, and the black belts. You'd go up to all of them and show respect. And then when you started class, line up, yes, sir. We'd all run up and we'd do our ready position real strong and then begin. We'd follow along, yes, sir. We'd always answer, yes, sir. We'd do our stretches, kicks. And so with that, I love the discipline of it. I needed that structure.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it was very personal and solo where I could really, my dad and I did it together. So it was an amazing thing too, for the two of us. We weren't real close, but with the martial art, we became close.
Mm.
And he was just one of those people that really likes to learn everything there is about something. So we would, like our first class as white belts, we learned a couple blocks or a block and a punch. And we go home, my dad would write notes down and we'd go and we'd have to, before I could go to bed, and, get ready for school, we'd have to practice it in his little office. So we'd remember. The next morning he'd get me up and we did it just to make sure we didn't forget. And that's how it was from day one for years. Luckily my dad was so, a discipline that way. So it was a good experience. I learned that I could really enjoy the solo part of it where I could push myself. At the same time, it was that group thing where I felt more comfortable and you could train hard and yell and scream and jump around with this group of people that are in the same boat as you. Kind of like the podcasting thing, like I go to podcast conferences and I meet podcasters and I was amazed. The first couple times I went, I met this guy who's a podcaster, who's a professing Christian. And I talked to him. I said, you know what? I remember when I used to go to church, there's like this camaraderie, this family, and it's the same thing. I feel like that here at these podcast conferences. It's weird. What is that? And he said right away, he said, well, we're all here for the same thing. We're all creative and we love to share. But we have this desire. That's why as a podcaster, you want to share something with people. You want to teach, or you just want to share experience and you want to put it out there and share it with the world. I'm like, yeah, that's it. So I have this camaraderie. Like, I feel like I know you already just because you have the headphones on and the mic, besides you have the beautiful hairdo with the bald shine. You know what I mean?
It's not a bald shine. It's just waiting patiently. I'm loving it because it sounds like your dad had a real calling to the martial arts for you. And yeah. And this is the thing with regards to podcasting, it's like you've answered the calling towards that for yourself, and basically as a vessel to bring your family closer together.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every step along the way, it's been cool. I stop and reflect, and I look back at my life at the different things. There's ups and downs. There's real positive things. There's things that didn't work out the way, like my karate school. We had to close it. The economy changed.
Yeah.
I didn't have a regular mortgage at the time when I opened my school, so it was easier. Then we had to move, and I had to get a mortgage, so I had to work full time during the day. So it just things didn't work out, and so it's like, bummer. I could get sad. I was depressed for a year about it, but then you know what? It was an awesome experience. It was an awesome time that my children, I was able to, train them in that martial art and give them that experience that we shared together. And then the podcasting thing that we play the games together, we do the podcast together. So it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, sorry that your school closed, but it's helped bring you to this.
Absolutely.
So when you started, say, 6 years ago with the podcasting, what was that like, the sort of first tentative steps? I have an idea of what that's like, but how was it for you? Because it was very much a day back then.
Yeah. So, like I said, I get this from my dad where I want to know things before I jump in. So I kind of want to know what I'm getting into. I hate, and I've done this before when I do things and I start going down the wrong road and I've wasted resources, money, time, and shoot, I should have done this way. I should have did it. Why'd I do that first? So then I read. So I got some Kindle books about podcasting. I got a physical book about it. I started listening to podcasts. It was the one was called Podcaster Studio. It was Ray Ortega. He has the Podcasters Roundtable. It's a podcast, excellent. If you don't listen to it, it's a good one. Dave Jackson, the School of Podcasting, just great resources, and he's still going strong and teaching you about the things you need, basic stuff to start out. So I knew, I needed, if I wanted to make it something professional looking, I should get a domain name with the same name as my podcast. I should have the multimedia stuff. So I need the social media junk. I need the Twitter. I wasn't on Twitter, Facebook. I'm like, no, thank you. But for the show, like for my voiceover stuff, I needed it. So
Mm.
now for the show, I told my kid, we actually had a family meeting. I said, listen, if we're going to do this, we need to sit down and have a meeting. And it's funny, I still have my notes. So they're actually right here. I look at them every once in a while. My one daughter was our secretary. And we
Okay.
talked, we went, I said, okay, here's the deal, guys. Here's what we need. We kind of spitballed names for the podcast. We talked about different podcasts that we wanted to do. We talked about, I said, well, if we're going to do more than one, we're going to need a network name too. So we talked about that. I said, well, let's get all that, make sure we get the right names ahead of time. It's the worst thing to do is, which I've been told before I started, to go do that stuff and pick a name. And then you find out, oh, you got the name of the podcast, but the domain name's already taken. Like, oh man, or the Twitter is already taken. So,
Yeah.
you kind of like, I knew that ahead of time by studying. So we had our family meeting, decided to, I said, well, we had like 5 different podcasts we wanted to do. I said, well, let's start with the D&D one. We already are playing together. And so we decided to do that. When we started, I said, okay, well, I need to get the gear. So I said, okay, I know how to do my own mic. I know how to mic a band, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So now to mic a podcast with 6 people, what is the best way to do that? So now I couldn't, at the time, there wasn't a lot of stuff out there. A lot of people were doing just an Omni mic in the middle, what people were talking about. There's a lot of room noise. They're at the dining room table. I'm like, that sounds like garbage. I can't have that. So I figured out I needed everybody mic'd individually. I knew that I by research, I couldn't use a condenser mic because that was what I used for my voiceover stuff. Real crisp, clean, picks up everything. Good for a studio like this with the dead sound, but not in a big room. Everybody needs a dynamic mic to get their face right on, and we need headphones so we can hear ourselves. But actually, I got to step back because I didn't remember the headphones. So I got the mics. I got a little mixer. It was a straight mixer with 8 channels. So we had 6 of us. I didn't have any mic stands. So I said, all right, our first episode, let's just do a trial run. And it ended up being our first episode on the show. You can hear it, but a lot of editing. We're banging the mics. We're holding them, putting it down. It was a mess. And no headphones, so we couldn't really hear each other.
Like,
it was hard. Yeah, you're talking. I mean, we heard it in the room, and so a lot of bleed over too to the other mics. So then I figured, okay, we got to fix this. So it was a couple weeks from the first episode recording. I got a new mixer. I said, well, this one's not working. So I got a new mixer with some sliders on it. I got headphones for everybody. We got the boom stands. So I have a couple that are clamped to my table, and I have like 3 of them with the arm bar, scissor hand that comes off like a regular mic. And then I have a couple that are scissors on the table that we can, clamp. And so we were all set up, 6 of us around the table, and we were all mic'd and we're real close. The key though, and I share this with people that are asking, I see questions all the time on Twitter and Facebook, how to do a group thing. And I said, let me tell you from my experience, you need to get on the mic and you need to turn your volume way down. Start with nothing. Get everybody right on it. And because they're talking right into it, you need to be, because of the room, not like now I don't want to do that, but in the room environment, the higher you go with your gain, you're bringing in that room noise. You can't have that. You're going to get bleed over from the other people. So you want the minimal amount of volume gain on each mic. So everybody's just talking into it. We all have our headphones on, and I slowly start bringing up the mic on one person. And keep talking, just regular talk. Get close to the mic, and they're talking, and I get them up. Next person, keep talking. I get them up I get everybody around the same levels. Now I have the volume as low as it can be by picking them up still at the same time, because I don't want to be too loud. If you're too loud, you're picking up extra room noise, and it's not that hard to do. The quality became real good after a few shows, but that was that trial and error of getting you. And then, as new podcasters, imagine my kids. I mean, they're older now. My youngest was like 16 at the time. My daughter graduated. She was in college. That's why we were actually playing D&D. So she was maybe 19, 20. So it was hard. We were like talking over each other, just like yelling out, and we're doing character voices too. So there was a lot involved, and we'd have to stop. Like, okay, guys, don't talk over them. Or they were just, you need to say what you said again. So it was kind of like I had to direct a little bit. Now, years later, it's just like, man, it's like clockwork. It's so fun. Everybody knows their part. And then we know too, if if somebody bangs, hits the mic or something, and we stop and we say, okay, say that again. So we make sure we have good audio on it. I'm a stickler for really good audio. So
No, like this is a thing. I think you get that sort of work ethic from your dad.
Oh,
Like,
sure,
like
sure,
because
no
like yeah.
doubt. Yeah,
So like basically, I think for me, when I sort of listen to sort of podcasts which like up and coming and like
yeah,
people who have been long established,
yeah,
what I find fun is listening to people who have been established for some time and listen to their really early stuff just to see what the difference is, because sometimes it is quite night and day, because they just like they just basically oh you okay there like it's quite night and day, basically seeing the quality and the sort of standards they come back with, uh, and how much experience they've picked up doing the podcast over a course of time. It's like amazing,
right
even
on.
in a few, like even in a very short time as well.
Yes, yes. And my kids used to listen to like YouTube videos or watch YouTube videos.
Mm,
And then they would show me something. Oh, look at his dad's funny. And the sound quality was just garbage. I'm like, oh, but how could you even watch that? It's just, I can't even. And then I had the same thing with the podcast.
mm,
And that's why I wanted to start our first podcast, because there was only one show. Like I said, there was only like three, I think, that were out at the time. And the one was really good. They taught me how to play, but they didn't do character voices. It wasn't entertaining. It was great for
yeah,
knowledge, for learning. And then the other two that I found were garbage. The sound quality was really bad. Like I said, they had the one mic. They're all yelling from across the room, and that internet sound kind of quality.
mm,
And another one, like they all were cursing on it. I said, you know what? I want to make one that's entertaining. I want something that I can enjoy while I'm driving, like an audiobook. I want
yeah,
it to be family friendly too. I don't need to listen to trash mouth. I don't need that.
yeah. No, yeah, like one of the things I would say is like 6 years ago, like I wouldn't say like the price point for entry doing podcasts, I
Yeah,
wouldn't say that was the sort of main barrier. I would say it would be more the technical side of
yeah,
things, which would really sort of trip people up.
sure.
Because today you've got things like, okay, I'm doing this with a USB mic,
Hmm.
Zoom, webcam, and away. Uh,
Yeah.
you mentioned getting an 8-channel mixer to get this, like get your podcast up and running. And now today, is it the Rodecaster Pro, which
Hmm.
is the sort
Yeah.
of new, like, well, it's about a year and a half now it's been out for,
Yeah.
but
And it
it,
records right onto that, I believe, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a bit
But it
more,
doesn't have enough channels for me. Like
yeah,
I think it only does 4 mics or something,
it
something
does
like that.
4 mics. You're quite
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, with 6 of you, that is a totally different level. But
Right.
yeah, it's like you must have just been like, wow, seeing the change over that
Mm.
course of time. Yeah,
Yeah, and you know what? Let me interject too. Even that, you still don't need to spend a lot of money. You like
mm,
the USB mic. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I have the Shure SM7B. I didn't
yes.
have this. My kids got this for me for a Christmas gift. This is my dream mic, for the studio. And so we had regular dynamic mics. I had the ATR 2100,
Okay.
amazing mic, USB mic.
Mm,
You can plug it in with an XLR as you upgrade it, or you
yeah.
can use the USB and it has its own preamp built in. But if you want to go a step higher, you get a little Focusrite Scarlett, some kind of little digital interface to plug in as an XLR cable. That's just as you build. But
Mm,
starting out, yeah, you get that basic, even those Yetis, whatever they are,
yep.
you can do a basic, pretty inexpensive, get your headphones, boom, you're off to the races. As long as you really, my thing to counsel people is your sound room. Yeah, it doesn't have to
Mm,
be a room, but if you're in a bigger room, take note of that. If you can do it in a closet, you're going to be much better. You don't have that reverb sound bouncing. You keep the audio low, the gain volume, again,
mm,
even for an individual, so that you're not picking up a lot of room noise. And then moving blankets. These are moving blankets here.
yeah.
And when we do our dining room table, too, for 6 people, I made these mock little walls out of PVC plastic, and I hang these moving blankets around us. So it's like and my wife would kill me if I build a big studio in there. So it's a furnished basement, but I put it up and we could take it down. But it
Yeah.
helps to keep our sound in there so it's not bouncing. It's a lot of little tricks that you can still do it cheap. Even when I bought my 8-channel mixer, the first one I bought was expensive. I didn't know. And then I ended up going with $300 is a lot, but for a big mixer, it's cheap. I went with
Mm,
a Behringer. It's like 3 something. It was an 8-channel, or I think it was 6-channel. No, it was 8-channel. But anyway, it's a real low end, but it works great for me. I didn't need to spend more than that, and that's a low end price though for something like that for 8 channels.
Mm. Now, this is the thing. I'm like, I would say I'm not so much late to the party, but like I've seen how podcasts have affected people, and I
Mm,
like basically getting involved in that. I think
yes.
is, how can I say? I think it's a like it's from myself personally, the way I see it, it's a case of helping me still grow, if you get what I
Oh
mean.
yeah. Oh
With
yeah.
those like with interactions I'm now forcing myself to have with people I like, yeah. Some people I don't know for Adam, or some
Yeah.
friends I haven't spoken to for some time. Because as you know, as time goes by, we all get a little bit more, how can I say, set in our ways, and we do
Yes.
take that opportunity to have conversations with new
Right.
people. So this is
Or personal growth.
mm,
It's easy to get stuck, and you doing something new and different. It's
absolutely.
exciting for you. That change, that's something new, a challenge for you.
Mm. So yeah, with that, it's helping me.
Yeah.
And like this, anyone who decides to listen, me personally, they could be a million people or one person. Doesn't
Yeah.
really matter.
Yeah.
But with that interaction, hopefully this will still help me grow as an individual, and yeah, still have my mind open to like, well, new conversations and new experiences. Who knows where?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you find and you're not late to the game at all. It's still a fledgling thing. I mean, even though some people started in the beginning when it was MP3s being uploaded in 2005 or whatever,
Mm,
it's still a small community, and it's just at the bottom, and it's still good. It's got a lot of growth ahead of you. So now you're definitely in at the right time.
mm. So, like, may I ask, you were a DJ before podcasting?
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. Was that a case of you were DJing for a radio station or private parties?
Yeah, private. So I started. I was always into entertainment. In high school,
Mm.
I was in choir, and then I actually met my wife through choir.
Oh,
I
awesome.
was in the musical, a couple musicals, two of them in high school, and then I was in some bands, some little small bands, and ended up getting into a wedding band when we got married. So I used to sing, and well, I still sing, but I don't do it professionally or anything. But I would sing, and so I would do the band thing. But then we started having kids, and I didn't want to. The band thing took a lot of time, so you have to
Yeah.
practice a lot. We would do a party band, like a wedding band. So I said, you know what, I'm going to back off of that. And then I'd have my PA system, and at the time they were big. I had the big speakers, a couple microphones, and my turntables and CD players and tape players. And my family would ask, different members of my family, friends, cousins, aunts, uncles, hey, can you DJ our party? Bring your. I'm
Mm.
like, all right, sure, yeah, no problem. So I brought my PA system, and I would play stuff for them, their music, and we didn't have digital at the time. But I had the gear. So after doing it for a little while, I said, you know what? Why don't I could work a part-time job and make some good money as a DJ. Why don't I never did it, but I said, let me try. I mean, I can play music, and I
Mm.
know the audio. So I ended up going to a music store. I said, hey, here's my gear. Can I downgrade? Can I sell this to you and trade and get some small mobile setup, for DJing? Oh
Mm.
yeah, sure. So I ended up doing that. And then I went to a DJ company that was near me. I said, hey guys, my name's Dave. Nice to meet you. Blah blah blah. I'd like to get into DJing. I've never done it, but here's my experience. And I met this great group of guys. Well, not just guys and gals. There was ladies as well. But this guy that owned it, his name was Gene Durbano. Amazing, and they still have it. It's DJs available in the New Jersey area, and he took me on. I didn't get paid at first. He said, "Well, I want you to go tour around with these guys. You'll help them out, and you'll learn and see how they work." So okay. So I went on. I don't know, maybe a couple weeks, maybe actually it was probably about a month, but did a bunch of jobs with them. Went there, helped them set up, break down,
Mm.
and watched how they did it, things that they did. And then when I was ready, I started getting my own music collection together and CDs at the time. And then I started doing small parties. He said, "Okay, well, I have a school party, sixth grade kids.
Mm.
Here's their stuff. You're kind of like," and he'd help me set up a playlist. And then I would just go do that, start small, and then did that for a bunch of years, many years. And then all as my kids were growing up, and kept changing my equipment,
Mm.
and mainly my focus became doing weddings. I loved emceeing. I
Yeah.
loved taking over the whole party. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, rise, the new Mr. and Mrs. blah blah blah. And then dun, 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 the music playing as they're coming out. I just love that. And then okay, open up the dance floor. I'm gonna get everybody up dancing, and especially when you had lighting too. It was a lot of fun. And so the weddings were amazing. I love those. It's just a big
Awesome.
party. People are there to have a good time. It's easy. So that was a big deal for me. And then as my kids got older, it was like too much. And I was working a full-time job. I had a
Mm.
couple jobs I was working, and I said, you know what, I need to pick and choose here. It's too much. And I was meeting with brides. I'd have to meet with them a month out and
Ah,
do their playlists and stuff. And I was busy. We'd have to do shows every month too, so they could come and meet you. It was a full-time job in its own,
yeah.
uh, which was a part-time thing for me. But anyway, I'm sorry. I ramble easily. I like to talk.
No,
But
no, no.
that's how that started. And then I finally stopped that. I don't remember when, 2012, 13. And then that's by the time 2014 came around, had an itch. I'm just like, I got to do something creative. I just can't. I have this bug. I have to do something, So thank God I found voiceover, and it was actually Gravy for the Brain. I'll give them a shout out because anybody can look them up online. Gravy for the Brain. They're out of the UK originally.
Okay.
Yeah, Hugh is the guy's name. I forget. And a big voiceover guy that's in England as well. English guy. Gosh, I can't remember his name right now, but he did like the voice and stuff over there. Huge name.
Mm.
I can't remember. But anyway, it's Gravy for the Brain. Those two guys became a team and started it there. They have a US field as well. And just an excellent way to jump in. People want to learn about it and how to start.
Oh, superb, superb.
Yeah.
Like you strike me as a person who is not afraid to try something new. And
Oh
but
no,
when
yeah.
you do go for it, you really do go for it.
Yeah, and it's kind of a downfall as well. Yeah, because I'm kind of extreme, and I tell you, I I don't practice the Christian faith anymore. Like I'm still a believer, I guess,
Yeah.
spiritual in a sense. But when I didn't have any upbringing at all in the church. But
Mm.
when I was a teenager in high school, my junior or senior year, there was like this outreach group. It was called Young Life, and they taught us about Jesus and the Christianity. And I didn't know anything about it, so but I fell in love with it, and I really went crazy well, not crazy, but I really just changed my life, and I had a whole new direction and purpose. And my wife and I were, Christians, practicing and raising our kids when they were young as Christians, and I
Mm.
went hardcore. Like I had to like study the Bible. Like I know the
Yeah.
Bible inside out. Like I'm like, how can there be so many people from different denominations talking about the same verse and they have different beliefs? No, there's only got to be one truth. And I would go nuts, like just trying to
Yeah.
find the perfect church, and it just became like an obsession, which is the negative part of it. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to really stay open minded in life, and it's not always as easy as black and white. Sometimes there's a lot of gray in there, and finding the truth. Sometimes somebody's truth is another person's not truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, I hear you. I absolutely hear you.
yeah.
Like, yeah. So, wow, you've given me so much food for
I'm
thought.
sorry. Yeah, yeah.
No,
A lot
no, no.
going on.
Oh, no, no, it's all good. Like, yeah, this is fantastic. With like with your podcast, like
Mhm.
which you've done with your you were doing with your like, how can I say your your fellowship. I'm gonna go with that.
Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, was it a case of just you guys, or did you bring guests on over the course of time?
Good question. Yeah. So there's six of us all the time. It
Mm.
was myself. I was the host, basically. I would just get us started. I said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a quest for Magic and Steele.
Mm.
Thank you. Brought to you by the Steele Empire. Blah, 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 blah. Here's our website. You can find us here. Da, da, da. And then I, say any commercial stuff we needed. And then I hand things over to my daughter, Amara. And she's okay. This is where we left off. You were in this woods and you felt this ominous feeling fall over you. And then we'd all go into character voices and we'd play our characters and just go and riff. It was awesome. And it's a lot of improv, so it's a lot of fun. But so the question, let me back up. Uh, so we'd have the two of us were the main focus.
Yeah.
My son, who's my youngest, Josiah, he's been in it since the beginning. Mara, my oldest, her boyfriend, who is her fiance now,
Ah,
he's been in it. So my two daughters, my son, and Brian. So that's one, two, three, four. The other two, so I had my second daughter for season 1, Shayna. She was in that one. And then we brought in a friend of Brian and Amara's, Alicia, who's been with us through the 3.5 seasons, or 4
Okay.
seasons. So yes, we brought to have a couple different people. Each season, things have changed a little bit. So my second daughter became a nurse. She went to school. She got married, so she couldn't. She moved out, so she couldn't be there. So it was always me, my oldest, Brian, my youngest son, and then Alicia left and came back. So I had another one of my daughters came in, took a spot for the one season, and then she just actually she's over there with you. She's in England. She's in the Air Force. She just went over there, and she is in Mendenhall, something northeast of London. It's up. It's about an hour away. It's called
Okay.
Mendenhall, something like that.
Right. I'm just trying to think because northeast of London.
I just look on the map. I can see it, and looking down sky
Yeah.
view northeast. It's kind of like about an hour or so away up
Is it?
that way.
Is that near Cambridge?
Yes, it is.
Ah,
Yes,
yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Like, yeah. The reason why that sort of triggers in my head, I was living in Cambridge for about 18 months.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Kay Griffin, she also is married, in like British lass. She's married to an Air Force pilot. U.S. Air Force. He's a weapons specialist on I think it's the F-15. So he sits in the back of the fighter jet.
Right.
And now she's over stateside in Virginia. So yes. No, not Virginia.
Nice.
Sorry, Vegas. Sorry.
Oh.
So yeah.
Nevada. Yeah.
Okay. Our daughter's over here in the UK. Fantastic.
Yes, she is. Yeah. So she was with us, and then she went to the Air Force, so she had to leave. So then we brought on, who do we have now? Oh, my niece Danielle is with us. So it's me. It's a core group of the same, and then my niece. So we bring people in and out. We've had a couple local podcast friends that I became friends with. We brought them to the house, and they sat in for like a one shot. They become this character, and it's been a lot of fun doing that. We have plans to do people like this with Zoom to join us occasionally. I have 3 people on tap since last year that want to do it, and we just haven't done it yet. But yeah, it's going to be fun to bring them in.
Well, it's been a long time. Like I've played Dungeons and Dragons myself about, I think, 3 or 4 times. So hey, if you need a person in the UK,
nice. Okay,
I'll definitely be up for that. So,
fantastic.
I'll find a 20 side. I'll find a 20 side die somewhere.
Yeah. And it's cool too. We even have digital, so we could roll for you.
Awesome.
Or you could do it. You could pull it up on the computer.
So, a 20.
Yeah.
Win again. Yeah. Brilliant. So with this, like you mentioned, doing a podcast network, did you go forward with that, or was it again?
Yeah, it's Steele Empire. So my name's David Steele. So the Steele name, when I started the voiceover thing, it was David Steele voiceover VO.
Yeah.
So I have steelevo.com. So that's how we started. So we got into the podcast. We're talking about names, and we didn't even think of Steele. But then we're talking about the podcast. And we said a quest for magic and steel. I said, steel like a sword. It could be, it's able to play on words. Okay, cool. And then we were talking about, okay, well, if we do other shows, we could do Knights of the Steel Table. We wanted to be like a conversation thing around the table. And then we had an improv show we wanted to do. And I forget what we're going to call that. But so we had like 3 or 4 that we had in mind. I said, okay, well, now we need the network name. So we started throwing out names. And I had my computer or my phone. I was looking up on GoDaddy. Let me see if the domain name's available. So the first few things we picked weren't available. It was somebody was already taking. I was like, darn, what else? So we're fans of Star Wars as well, my kids. So somebody said the Empire, so then we're like Steele Empire. So then with the Steele Empire. Yeah. So steeleempire.com. Steele. I always say, don't forget the last E for entertainment. It's because people might spell it differently. So steeleempire.com. That's how people can find us. You can find all our shows on that website. You can find our social media stuff there. And I'm revamping it. It's actually a WordPress site at the moment, and I'm changing it all over to HTML. So it loads a little faster. I've had issues with my host.
Yeah. Ah, fantastic. Oh boy. Like this is the thing, like doing the Steele Empire, like that, it just so much work, so much effort, like so much focus.
Mm.
Did you find the trickiest thing sort of starting out with this?
Well, I mean, we decided going into it that we were going to just take it slow. So
Mm,
basically, I've already had, matter of fact, one of my first jobs, I used to do website design before WordPress or anything like that when computers were first coming out. So I'm very computer literate. You know, I can make websites easy, especially WordPress. They're
yeah.
cake. Like for me, you know, I just throw it up there. I can do it in 5 minutes. It's like easy. Just throw up a logo. That the hardest part is making a logo, really, deciding on that. But putting it together, it's just like a cut and paste kind of thing.
Mm,
So that was the easy part. So we made the Steele Empire, and I just made links to the other shows. So we had a Quest for Magic and Steel was a separate website as well, which you don't even have to do nowadays. You can just load, like a lot of hosts have their own website stuff for you, so you don't even need your own website really.
mm.
But it's just more professional if you start, you know, if you want to make money with your shows, if you want it to look real professional, you know, if you have a domain name people go to, it's on your business card, that kind of thing. It
Yeah.
just gives it more gravitas, I guess.
Mm.
So I don't know if that's not the right word, gravitas. Gives it more punch, I guess,
Essence.
whatever the word is. So anyway, yeah, Steel Empire wasn't that hard to put that together. It was just basically a, a stopper place. What's the word? A placemat kind of deal, so people could find us there and then click on the links to go other places. We did most of our work is on Twitter and Facebook, so
Mm.
we do a lot of chit chat, and that was the hardest work. I think the hardest obstacle was getting on social media, and I really hate taking the time to be on there and stuck on my phone. And so I really wanted to get my kids involved to do that. Like, you guys do Twitter, but none of them did it. I have to do it all. I beg it for years. I'm like, I just got tired of asking. I'm the only one. Like, so my daughter will go in there occasionally, but every day I'm checking it just because you have to stay. If you're promoting your show, you
Yeah.
can't just be like one of these, like the scumball people that go out in any business, car salesmen, be a podcasters, whatever. And they just go, hey, how you doing? Here's my thing. And like,
Mm.
I don't even know you. Like, you're just throwing this in my face. Here's my latest episode. What is that? Who are you? You know, like you're in a group or something, introduce yourself. Hi, you know, I'm blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And this, you know, or an introduction, I have this, you know, and then get to know people, talk
Mm.
to them. How can I help you? You know what I mean? Not just here, look at my show or love
Yeah.
me, do a review, you know, I'll review yours, you review mine. No, it's garbage. They're worthless and it's not genuine. So let's get to know each other. So you get to know people on Twitter. I start hashtagging D&D communities, hashtag podcast, hashtag, and you do these hashtags where you see where those people are, who are the followers of that. Then I
Mm.
start following those people, and then I start putting my tweets out or on Facebook. I start joining podcast groups. Uh, and then I start talking to people in there, not just, hey, look at me. It's,
Yeah.
hey, how can I help you? Or I'll answer questions if somebody has a question. And at first it was hard because I was new. I was the one asking the questions. But after a few years, you know, you become part of that. I started going to conferences, and now I'm a big part of, like, we have the Indie Podcast Conference, which is in
Mm.
the Philadelphia area. And I'm assistant to that. I help out with that. We have Super Joe Pardo. Joe Pardo is the man behind the scenes there. And just this year, I've helped out every year, just kind of assisting. Hey, man, what do you need? I'll help them load and put things up, you know, the day before it starts. And then this year, I'm on his committee and I help out with the Facebook page and Twitter. And because I want to be a part of it. I love being able to help people along the way on their journey. So that's just another step for me, you know.
Mm.
But I get on a kick for that. I'm sorry, because a lot of
No.
people do that. They just want to throw their stuff out there, you know, like, hey, come buy my car. You know, no,
Yeah.
get to know me, say hello. You know,
Mm.
I was gonna say shake my hand, but don't shake my hand. You know, 6 foot.
That's a
You know, six
foot
foot.
tap.
Don't.
Foot
Yeah,
tap.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Elbow, foot tap, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do. And as a martial artist, I've been talking about, we'll just bow. You know, I just
Yeah.
bow to you. Hey, just show my respects.
Just give it the namaste and let's see it.
Yeah, namaste works.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. Yeah.
No, yeah, no, I totally understand where you're coming from. I totally agree. And look, I won't lie, there's been times when I've started things in the past like, hi, like because of the enthusiasm, I forget how you forget often.
Sure.
This is like when you're doing it over the internet, you're just like, let me grab someone's attention as quickly as possible and go here, rather than sort of like going, okay, let's take your time, let's nurture that relationship. And I
Yes.
basically build slow. Like the
Yes, and
whole,
there's places for that. You know, like
mm,
even like on Facebook or Twitter, on my own feed, I
mm,
won't go into other groups and blast my stuff unless it's in a certain thread.
yeah,
Like with the Indie PodCon, we have our group, and on there you have new people come in and they'll just put out, here's my episode, and
yeah,
then I'll remove it as a moderator and I'll send them a message. Hey, listen, we don't do any self promotion because it's just become. I have groups that do that. It's just people blasting their stuff.
yeah,
Why am I in this group? You're advertising to a fellow peer. Like, I'm not your audience.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Like,
saying? So I I, I I tell them, hey, we have a thread like I'll do every Saturday. I say, hey, it's Share Saturday. So
mm,
share your latest episode so we can follow you and subscribe, whatever. And so you have a chance to do that. But it's okay. Sometimes on my own feed, I'll post up, hey guys, here's my latest episode. And
mm,
I'm sending it out to people that might follow me. I'm not blasting people in a certain group. On Twitter as well. Hey, here's my I'll do hashtag podcast, hashtag D&D,
yep,
hashtag, role playing games, whatever it is. So people that are following those might see it. That's okay to advertise like that. But
mm,
in communications with people that I talk to, I'll follow other conversations and jump in. And I'll say, hey, this is what I think about that. You know what? Just to be getting to know them and
yeah,
and sharing with them, and then they'll share me. Oh, David Steele, his family, he's
mm,
got a pod, and that's how over the years they have been the best things and the best marketing and advertising. They're like, oh my God, he doesn't like slam you with it, where you got other people that have come and gone. They come in there, hey, look at me, I want to make money, and then they're bye, see ya, because people get sick of that.
yeah.
But when you're genuine and you put it out there, eventually it gets shared around. People could be like, and I'll be like on Podit, on the group page. Hey, did you talk? And how do you pronounce your first name?
My first name,
Yes,
Miwa.
Miwa. Easy.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, I don't know how to say that. So Miwa, easy. I'm like, and I'll be, hey, you guys know Miwa? Make sure you hit him up on Podit. He's a great interviewer. I had a good time talking to him because now I know you. It's like, and so now I can share that, and that's from a good experience. It's not just because you're slamming me or spamming me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, because like, yeah, like when you mentioned like, yeah, just people posting up their link and then like you're taking it down. But when you're in a group like that and you just posting link, posting link, who is going to actually download your podcast? Who's
Yeah,
actually going to
it's
take the
wasted
time out?
energy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just you might as well be ice skating uphill, and that doesn't
yeah.
achieve anything. In
Uh-huh.
fact, by the time you've expelled so much energy doing that, you just slip further back, and
Hmm.
you've got to come up with, well, you've got to start all over again, and it's just so much wasted energy, which could be put to something positive, which
Okay.
it's
Okay.
just like quite crazy. When I look at it and when I see it happen, and yeah, you just when you're in the midst of it, you just don't think of it.
Yeah, and I think it comes across though too as you have the right, if you do things with the right heart.
Mm,
It's like even like raising your kids. And like people would ask me, like, I know, and I have 5 kids. How do you do it? Your kids are so well behaved, and
yeah.
it's and I don't do it all right all the time. My kids I was strict. With my kids growing up when they were young, and you make mistakes. But eh, do things from the right heart. If you do it from the right with the right motivation. You're not just
Mm,
trying to get things for yourself, and you're not selfish. So, even if you put it out there as a blast on something, and sometimes that happens because you're excited. Sometimes it'll come across like that. Hey, cool, that guy, oh, he's just so pumped. And then other times you could see when people are just trying to use you, just so you can kind of tell, who's for real and who's not.
no. Oh, yeah, no, totally agree. But yeah, um, wow, no, thank you very much for that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm loving the insight because, like, this is the thing. I think a lot of people which are going to like with the sort of downtime of the lockdown, there are some
Mm.
people which are now venturing into the whole podcast game,
Yeah.
and there's some people which have been doing it for some time, and they might be in that sort of era where they might be, it's not really going the way I want it or how they
Hmm.
expect it to. And with that sort of like these sort of nuggets of insight, it's a case of people got to realize it's not about a short game, it's about a
Oh yeah.
long game. And
Absolutely.
when
Hmm.
you're playing the short game, yeah, by all means, you might get a point or two.
Hmm.
But if you're talking about you want to be doing this for the next 5, 10, 20 years, or like making it maybe like a career for a total career change.
Yeah.
No, short game is not going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to burn you out, and you're going to stop when, and it'll be a damn shame if it's something you say you love and you're doing that to it. So
Yeah, that's right.
mm. So with regards to the Steele Empire, what do you like? Okay, with 2020, new decade, and
Yeah.
let's just say this challenging year for everyone
Mm-hmm.
globally, what do you see for like the Steele Empire's future? Say,
Yeah, and again, it wasn't real stressful, kind of backing up to what you said before
mm,
as well,
mm,
because I didn't put a lot of energy into it. I just had it there as like as a place marker, Steel Empire. So when we add a bunch of shows, we have
mm,
it as the network. I've always wanted to maybe have other podcasters be a part of my network, but I wasn't really that wasn't my main focus. So I could even bring on other people that I become friends with and just add them. So
mm,
any of my popularity, if it's something that would fit our brand, they could be, I could link them. So in my social media, as I'm sharing, and even at the end of our shows, hey, we're brought to you by the Steel Empire. And
mm.
then steelempire.com. So then people would go to steelempire.com. Oh, hey, I like their show. Oh, hey, here's that guy. What, he's got a show. He talks to people about whatever. He interviews people. Oh, let me check that out. And then because you're part of my network, and then
Yeah.
people would find you that way. So I want to do that. I just, I'm not in a big hurry for it. If it
Yeah.
happens organically, fine. But like I said, I'm not in a big rush for it. But that's kind of the goal for that. Mainly, I did it just for us. So as we did more podcasts, we would be able to just throw them on there and have a
Mm.
one place that everybody could go and find our Twitter and our Facebook and whatever. Just kind of keep in touch, kind of deal.
Okay,
Does that make
great.
sense?
Yeah, no, it does make sense. Yeah. So basically, it's organic growth, see what
Yeah.
happens, and
Yeah.
then basically just a nice home for
Yeah.
all of the other
And there's people
podcasts.
that do it hardcore, like, that
Mm,
go at it and attack it with advertising and money. And I'm just not, it's just there, like I said, an organic thing that'll grow.
mm,
My main thing is just creating. And I just love doing things for entertainment value. I love like our show, Magic and Steele.
mm.
I did an audio drama, which I'm in production for season 2. I just love that. I love creating it. There's not enough time in the day for it. So with
Uh,
that being said, it's just,
yeah, no, like with regards to your audio drama, what's
mhm.
it called?
Yep, Arc City.
Orc City. Oh,
Arc, as in
ah,
Noah's Ark. ARKCITY.US. Arc City. And Arc City, if you do get a chance when we're done, check out the website. It's arccity.us. And it's cool because it looks like you don't know it's a podcast. Because when you pull up the page, it looks like a construction thing. It's supposed to be part of the show. And there's actually like when you click on the audio files, this like DOS hack screen comes up, and it's like the main character trying to talk to you because there's like this whole thing going on. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of it.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah. I'm sorry, going, wait a second, what's going on here?
And did the pop up the box when you
No,
first go on? Okay.
no, it didn't pop up. But it's just like, wait a second. There's a lot of script. Wait, it's like it threw
Oh
me for
yeah.
a second. I
You
was like,
did that, yeah. And
yeah,
I actually, sometimes I just upgraded the pop-up blocker thing. It's a, I'm not blocker, but there's this pop-up window that pops up. And if you have a blocker, you might not see it. But
yeah,
I've had people reach out to me and be like, they didn't know it was the right site because it looks like this, and they're like, "Am I getting hacked?" Because this DOS screen would come up, and they're getting
yeah.
scared, and they reached out to me like, "What the heck is this? That I clicked on the wrong site?" And then so I put up this warning thing, like saying that, "Hey, just so you know, this is part of the site. Don't get scared. You're not hacked."
Ah, excellent, excellent. So
Yeah.
apart from the podcasting, like and Arc City, is there other sort of like creative ventures you're looking at present, or is that it?
Besides the podcasting,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I still teach. I do private lessons. I don't have my karate school, but I
Mm,
I have a couple of my students that ended up opening a school after I closed mine. 2 of them became partners and opened up the school. So a lot of my students were able to continue training. So it worked out well. And so I'm able to use the studio. I go there and I teach, and I have one private lesson where I teach them every day, Monday through Friday, in the mornings, and then I teach Tai Chi on Fridays. I used to do 8-week courses with the
Mm.
local college, but that ended up canceling after a bunch of years. So I still have a class on Fridays. People come out, and that's why I figured we haven't been able to meet for a couple months. I've offered the online Tai Chi meditation class on Facebook and YouTube.
Oh,
So that's
superb.
creative, yeah. And I'm
Mm.
always, I sing on my own. My daughter and I sing together, but we haven't, there's not enough time in the day, so to go out and do something with that. But it's always fun to sing. I love it.
Oh, well, what I'd simply say to you is, I'm glad to see you're keeping yourself busy, your mind busy, because
Oh yeah,
yes,
yeah.
there are some. How can I say? I think this week for people in the UK and maybe next week, cabin fever might start to set
Oh
in
no, I know
because
it. Yeah, here too. No, for sure, man.
mm,
It's
yeah,
it's crazy.
it,
It's
uh,
tough.
yeah,
I'm blessed because I do have I'm a dispatcher as my
mm,
full-time job. So a police dispatcher for the state police, local for me. So I'm essential personnel. So I still have to go to work. So I'm lucky nothing's changed that way for me.
mm,
The wife is home, so she's going crazy. A couple of my kids, they're home, no school,
yeah.
they're schooling at home. So it's tough. It's frustrating for them, I know. And now they just closed our parks because
Ah,
people are idiots. They're getting together in groups. So they ended up closing them all for the whole state. And I'm like,
oh
"Oh, man,
God,
I can't even go there and go for a walk or run."
no.
It's really frustrating.
Yeah, like this is the thing. So far, you can still we don't have it as bad as Italy or Spain, where
Yeah.
you're only allowed to go out once a week, and that's to
Yeah.
get food.
Right.
I think they're lifting restrictions on that sometime this week for Italy and Spain.
Mm.
We still can sort of go out once, once a day for exercise, but going out getting essential foods, yeah, that's not a
Right.
problem. But they kept the parks open, and this weekend was a long weekend. We had Good Friday and Easter Monday,
Right.
like a 4-day weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4-day weekend. So you did have people out and about in parks. There's a place called Alexandra Palace, not too far away from where I live in North London,
Mhm.
and they closed that. They put up signs saying it's closed, but people being people, I'm sure there was a one or two hanging out in the
Yeah.
park, and the police have to move them on. Uh,
Right.
well, I think for us, we're going to be in lockdown for I think the next 3-4 weeks. They just need to confirm that up. Hopefully, they will not
Mm.
put on any more restrictions, but at this present time, it is what it is, as
Yeah.
you know, as you
Yeah.
know.
With the hope that, this too shall pass. So that's something we can hold on to,
Oh yeah.
that things will change and we'll move on from here.
Oh, it will pass. It's a
Mm.
case of it's like one of those things that you get a couple each generation has one thing what sort of changes
Oh,
how things go for
heck yeah.
society. Like
Yeah.
I've witnessed this is the second one, but it's after this, what our new normal globally will be interesting
Absolutely.
to see. But
Yes.
I am hopeful. I am optimistic about what the future brings. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's going to come with its challenges. And if
Yeah.
anyone can't see that, they're fooling themselves, I'm going to
Yeah.
say. Mm,
Agreed. Agreed.
yeah. With regards to the podcasting game, if there was three things you could make changes within the podcasting genre, what would those three things be?
In podcasting as a whole,
Yeah.
um, let's see. One, of course, which I've already ranted about, was just that people wouldn't just try to sell things to you. Like it would be more personable.
Mm,
I know back in the day, I guess even before I started, it was definitely more personable. People did it because they love to create. And now you have a lot of people jumping in just trying to get rich. Oh, I want to do this and blah blah blah. I wish that wasn't there. I wish it was just more about sharing. Just what we're talking about.
yeah.
The pureness of it. I like that. But hey, such is life. You have both sides of it, and that's okay. Let's see, three. So that's one, two. What I wish. I wish that I wish that we could, I guess just from a personal point of view, if there was more time in the day, because like editing takes a lot of time for me. The
Hmm.
kind of show that I do, especially with the audio drama, there's
Yeah.
hours upon hours, of making the soundscape like a movie for your ears. It's the same with the Quest for Magic and Steel. It's not too bad, but we have a lot of banter. I have to cut out. We're rolling dice. I don't leave all that in there. It's more of an audiobook type when you get the final product.
Mm.
After we're done talking, once we start playing, we go into character voices and improv, and so there's a little bit of editing there. So it could take hours to work on those things. I wish it was. I could just do it quick and just throw it out there, but I'm too mental as far as the quality. 3, something that could change. Is that what it said? Change or
Change
different? What
overall.
did you
Yeah.
say?
3 things you could change
Change.
overall in the podcasting genre.
Uh, I guess also that the hosting was a little more transparent. I think there's some new companies that come into hosting that try to take advantage of new podcasters.
Yeah.
And a lot of podcasters don't know they really don't own their RSS feed. If certain companies kind of own your feed, they could actually, not that they're going to do it, but
Mm.
in the fine writing and in the fine print, they could actually just take your thing and sell it, and that you don't actually own it. And they have your RSS feed is basically like your URL. It's like your
Yeah.
address to your show. So if you don't have your own domain name and your own feed and then host it somewhere, you don't have power and control of it. If you just have, Anchor, Buzzsprout, or whatever you use, and if you just use their feed, it's their feed. It's like you don't
Yeah.
actually own it. Now, most of them are cool. Like I know I've used gosh, I've used a bunch of them. I started with Libsyn. I have Blueberry. I've tested them all because I've done other shows that I don't even have anymore.
Mm.
Podbean. I currently use Pinecast. Pinecast I
Podcast.
love. It's a little clunky to get used to because it's not as clean interface,
Mm.
but it's a newer platform, super cheap. And my thing was because I had multiple shows, it's like you can start out for free with limited amount of that you upload, and
Yeah.
then it's like $5 a month, and
Okay.
then you can have multiple shows where it's only like $5 more, and if you
Okay.
want full stats, it's like, so I pay like $15 a month, and I have 3 shows on there,
Yeah.
and I can put as much as I want. It's unlimited. So you have to really research and look, and a lot of people don't know them, so I like to tell people about them to check them out. And then yeah, so I think that's the third one. Yeah, so the hosting thing, I just wish there was a little more transparency. And because some people, I hear everybody, like new people, they're all like, Anchor, I use Anchor, and Anchor's great
Yeah.
because Anchor makes it really easy for you, but there's a lot of stuff in the fine print that I've not researched it myself, but
Mhm.
other veteran podcasters are like, oh no, stay away.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I did many moons ago when Anchor first came out, because I
Yeah,
saw it come up on YouTube quite a lot. I
yeah.
I sort of looked into it, but I didn't really do
Hmm.
anything with it.
Hmm.
But when like I started up my own like podcast, it was a case of I didn't even take Anchor into consideration. I was just like, no, like let's do the hosting on my sort of terms and just like do it that way.
Oh, nice.
So
What'd you
it
end up going with?
Simplecast.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So like yeah, I'm paying the same amount of money for one podcast, which you're doing for free. So
Yeah.
you're like,
Right.
so it's one of those things where I was like, yeah, I didn't like, there was a lot I didn't understand at the beginning.
Yeah, sure, sure. And that's where, I mean, Anchor, I mean, I say they're taking advantage of the new user, but
Mm.
I mean, they're a business, so they're smart really to do that. At the same time, it's easy entry for a new beginner. You just
Yeah.
kind of go, they can record on their phone. You get your phone, you're just like, blah, blah, you start to do a podcast right here. It's
Yeah.
real simple. And I know somebody else was doing that too, right from the beginning. Spreaker is a big one. They
Mm.
charge a little bit more, but I remember testing it. I had a microphone and I'd be out in my car and I just tried it and I just did a live broadcast. So I was like,
Yeah.
this is pretty cool. I didn't like it. I didn't like it, the sound quality, but you can do it. And the Anchor did that. And that's I guess a niche, or, that people needed. So it's cool, but I think they kind of take advantage of the new users that don't know.
Mm.
But, but it's cool because you can grow. Like you grew. You decided on something else, and then you can even move on from there. I just get scared that somewhere along the lines, somebody gets a big show that they won't have the rights to it, like because they've
Yeah.
it on some other weird platform.
No. Well, we shall see how my show goes in the future. See how your
Yeah,
show goes in the future. I'm
that's right.
sure we'll stand as titans, sir. Titans.
Yes, yes.
um, during these lockdown times, what one show or one book would you recommend for people to either watch or read?
Well, reading. Let's see here. I like I like a lot of fiction. I like I just doing the voices and the acting and stuff. So,
I never would have
so yeah.
guessed.
So there's two that I really enjoy that I think people could like. Um, One is called the Dresden Files. He's a wizard in modern times, and he ends up being a detective. He's like a sorcerer. But he's in modern times. So it's like he helps out the police finding things, and then you end up having this whole back world of magical creatures and stuff. It's kind of neat. This other one is called the Iron Druid, and it's this guy who's a druid from I don't know how whatever BC. He's been
Yeah,
around forever. He's the only one left alive. He drinks this immortal tea. It's some kind of herbs kept him alive, so he's like 26 or something, and he's never aged because he keeps drinking this magical potion. But he's in modern times, so
yeah.
he's got a little like herb shop, and he sells things, sells books and stuff, and then he has all these adventures with these magical creatures and people that are a lot that you don't know about. It's kind of neat to think about that and going on in real life times now. So it's kind of like that mix of fantasy and real life. As far I love movies, I'm a movie buff. I,
Mm.
I just watched this movie. It's an English made movie.
Mm.
I was actually going to talk to you about it because the
Yeah.
accent. I'm like, oh man, The Gentleman. Have you watched that?
I got to say, the gentleman. It's like put it this way: Guy Ritchie has returned to form.
Yes.
Yes. Let's just say, there was his King Arthur film. Oh God, It's like,
Man,
that was,
I like that too, but
yeah,
yeah,
no, no, that like from my opinion, it was like
yeah,
no,
that's
but
my kind of thing. Yeah, that
yeah,
fantasy world. Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, like him doing the gentleman, like he did Aladdin, which I thought it was all right,
yeah,
but it was just like okay, when he did the gentleman, that was him returning to good old
yes,
sort of lock stock, his like
yes,
real roots
yes.
of it, and like it was like the the characters all round were just
Oh,
like quality. Um,
I can't I can't praise it enough.
mm,
I watched it, and you have to. I mean, it's real boring in the beginning. I'm like, oh man, I hope this it starts out slow,
oh
and
yes,
the characters you get to know them. Yeah, it's I watched it like 3 times. I told my dad, I'm like, you got to see this thing. I mean, it's my favorite movie of the last decade, easily. It's like it's so good because it's got humor, it's got action, it's got killing, it's
Mm,
got great acting, it's got the bad guy drama, it's got a little bit of love. It's just it's sick. It's got the twists and turns. I mean,
oh yeah.
by halfway through the movie, I'm like, oh wow, okay, it's over. What? And it's something I'm like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. It's so good.
Like this is the thing. When Guy Ritchie's truly on form,
Yeah.
it's like a classical piece of music where it
Yes.
starts out slow, it
Uh-huh.
sort of
Starts
builds
to
like the
build.
simmer builds,
Yes.
and then like all these little things get thrown in where you hear like the triangle go off, a little bit of like violins and strings, and then when it really builds, you got the trumpets and the brass section really,
Yes.
and then it's like pow,
Man.
everything's going off, and you're like going, where did this rich visual sound and everything coming together all in one, where did that come from? How did
Yeah.
that happen?
Oh
And then
yeah.
more times than not, there'll be a little twist at the
Yeah.
end, and then
Yeah.
it'll go off and like end. How can I say? End quite satisfying, like
Oh yeah.
or with a nice surprise, or like yeah,
So good. I cannot, tell people to see that enough. It's
yeah.
just
Oh, like this is the thing.
excellent.
Yeah. Hopefully, that some of the films which Hollywood have finished,
Mm,
I think ironically, down to Trolls, I think they're
yeah.
going to release more
I
because,
hope so. Yeah.
yeah, because Disney. did Onwards, which actually I thought
I
was
love that.
quite a charming
Loved it.
film. If
Yes.
they do a sequel, I wouldn't mind them doing a sequel just to
Yeah.
get a little bit more in depth or make that into
Sure.
a TV show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know they're putting a hold on Black Widow. They're trying to get theater money, and
Yeah.
let's just say movie theaters might not even be a thing until 2021.
Yep.
So I think they need to get on that, Warner Brothers as well, and like just
Right.
like release it direct to the public. It might be like 20 $20 over in the States, most probably $15 over here.
Yeah.
Like one-time rent, or like maybe a 4-day thing. Like
Mhm.
if you're like, if there's 2 of you in the house, or with yourself, 6 of you,
Yeah.
like yeah, six, well, of you in the house, that is very cheap. It's not,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
it's not unreasonable when you compare that. Going, if you went to the cinema, you're talking $15 a piece in your, like, for you, and then
Mhm.
basically food on top of that, and like, yeah. And if there is more than 2 of you, that just rapidly adds up to something which
Right.
you kind of like go, do we really want to go to the cinema, or do we just want to just go out and eat in a restaurant and have our enjoy
Right.
each other's company that way?
Mhm.
Yeah, but got to say, if they do release Black Widow, I'll be excited for that, and I'll be
Mhm.
excited for Wonder Woman as well.
Oh
Yeah,
yes. Oh
so
yeah.
I'm just having to wait patiently
Yeah.
that they come to their senses and go, okay, yeah,
I know.
yeah,
I know.
a
Yeah.
little bit of cash today for, like, well, for the Mouse House is well, like when you hear how much they're losing a day, it's kind of quite scary. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
million.
It's good. That's the economy is definitely going to be shaken up. This is going to be tough, but yeah, we'll grow. We'll get out of it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. It might be the first 2 quarters gone in this year, but I
Mm.
think in the third quarter we'll start fighting back
Yeah.
stronger than ever. But
Mm.
yes, uh, if you could be so kind to tell people where they can find you on social media and online, that would be great. I'll
Absolutely.
also put it in the description as well. So yeah, no
I
fear.
appreciate that. Yeah. So I am on Twitter. I am at David O. Steele. O for the middle letter. There's actually a David Steele. I think he's an English actor or voiceover guy. So
Okay.
David O. Steele.
Mm.
And we're also Empire Steel for the Steel Empire. That was one of the things too. I didn't on Twitter. We didn't even think of that. So we're Steel Empire, but Empire Steel. We had to be on Twitter because somebody took Steel Empire, and it's
Sons.
just not used. For years, I keep reaching out to Twitter. Hey, can I have this yet? And it's like they don't even use it.
Yeah.
It's tough. But basically, I mean, I have websites for my few different shows, but you can find everything at Steele Empire,
Mm.
STEELE Empire.com. I have links to my Twitter, to our show Twitter. I have the websites links. I have Facebook page, our YouTube channel, just all the different ways. Instagram as well. We have, yeah. So
Mm.
you can reach out to us there.
Ah, excellent. Yes, I'll definitely put this down in the description for all you guys listening. Yeah, I've got to say, David, Mr. David Steele, master of the Steele Empire. Thank you very much for coming on today. It has been much appreciated. Thank you for sharing your insights, knowledge, and yeah, and your time. Yeah.
Yeah, the
I,
pleasure is mine. Thank you so much for reaching out. Yeah.
Ah, I'm happy to. And like, you know what? I look forward to hopefully speaking to you again in the near future. Hopefully this will be the start of a beautiful friendship, let's say.
That's right. And I do plan on coming over there to England. So maybe we'll have to hook up for some tea and biscuits or
Uh,
whatever. I
uh,
don't know.
Tea and biscuit. Well, you know what? Like, yeah, forget the tea and biscuits. If the pubs are
Go to the
open,
pub.
yeah, I'll get a pint or 2 in you.
Okay. All right.
Excellent. I'd like to say thank you today, my friends, my life warriors, for watching the show. I'd like to say this to you: stay well, stay safe, be awesome. I look forward to seeing you, hopefully, very soon. But until then, I say peace and love to you. Peace.
Peace.